The Norwegian Crusade was a crusade that lasted from 1107 to 1110, in the aftermath of the First Crusade, led by Norwegian King Sigurd I. Sigurd was the first king to go on crusade to the Holy Land. The Crusaders did not lose a single battle during the Norwegian Crusade. The journey to Jerusalem, from Norway to England. Sigurd and his men sailed from Norway in the autumn of 1107 with 60 ships and perhaps around 5,000 men. In the autumn he arrived in England, where Henry I was king. Sigurd and his men stayed there the entire winter, until the spring of 1108, when they again set sail westwards. In mainland Iberia, after several months they came to the town of Santiago de Compostela in Galicia, where they were allowed by a local lord to stay for the winter. However, when the winter came there was a shortage of food, which caused the lord to refuse to sell food and goods to the Norwegians. Sigurd then gathered his army, attacked the lord's castle and looted what they could there. During the journey, the Norwegians encountered a great pirate fleet of galleys which were seeking peaceful trading ships to rob. However, Sigurd set his course straight for the pirates and stormed their ships. After a short time all the pirates had been either slain or escaped, and Sigurd acquired 8 ships from them. After this, they came to a castle in Muslim al-Andalus called Sintra. They took the castle, and killed every man there, as they had refused to be christened. They then sailed to Lisbon, a half-Christian and half-heathen city, said to be on the dividing line between Christian and Muslim Iberia. But they won the 3rd battle, and acquired great treasures. The 4th battle was won in the town of Alcázar, where they killed such a large number of people, the town was said to have been left empty. Here, they looted many treasures. In the Balearics, after another victorious battle against pirates when sailing through the Strait of Gibraltar, they sailed further along the Saracen land into the Mediterranean, and arrived at the Balearic Islands. The Balearics were at the time perceived by Christians to be nothing more than a pirate haven and slaving center. The Norwegian raids are also the first recorded Christian attacks on the Islamic Balearic Islands. The first place they arrived at was Formentera, where they encountered a great number of Blamen and Serkia who had taken up the dwelling in a cave. The course of the fight is the most detailed of the entire crusade through written sources, and might possibly be the most notable historic event in the small island's history. After this battle, the Norwegians supposedly acquired the greatest treasures they had ever acquired. They then went on to successfully attack Ibiza and then Minorca. The Norwegians seem to have avoided attacking the largest of the Balearic Islands, Majorca, most likely because it was at the time the most prosperous and well-fortified center of an independent Ifa kingdom. Tales of the success may have inspired the Catalan Pisan conquest of the Balearics in 1113 to 1115. In Sicily, in the spring of 1109, they arrived at Sicily, where they were welcomed by the ruling Count Roger II, who was only 13 years old at the time. Kingdom of Jerusalem. In the summer of 1110, they finally arrived at the port of Acre and went to Jerusalem, where they met the ruling Crusader King Baldwin I. They were warmly welcomed, and Baldwin rode together with Sigurd to the river Jordan and back again to Jerusalem. The Norwegians were given many treasures and relics, including a splinter off the true cross that Jesus had allegedly been crucified on. This was given on the condition that they would continue to promote Christianity and bring the relic to the burial site of St. Olaf. Siege of Sidon. Later, Sigurd returned to his ships at Acre, and when Baldwin was going to the Muslim town of Sidon in Syria, Sigurd and his men accompanied him in the siege. The town was then taken and subsequently the lordship of Sidon was established. The journey back to Norway, to Constantinople. After this, Sigurd and his men sailed to Cyprus, where they stayed for a short while. before traveling to Greece and arriving at a Greek port identified as Engilsness. They stayed here for a while as Sigurd wanted to wait for a sidewind, as the sails of his ships would blow up and look more impressive to the Byzantines. When they finally sailed into Constantinople, they saw that over all the land there are burgs, castles, country towns, the one upon the other without interval. The sails of Sigurd's ships were so close that they seemed to form only one enormous sail. All the people of Constantinople came out to see Sigurd sailing into the city, and Emperor Alexios I opened the city port to Norway. When Sigurd was preparing to go back to Norway, he gave all his ships and valuable figureheads to Alexios I. In turn, Sigurd received many horses, which he would use to travel home overland. Many of his men stayed behind to take up service with the Byzantines. Sigurd traveled, in a trip that supposedly would take around 3 years, through Bulgaria, Hungary, Pannonia, Swabia, and Bavaria, where he met with Emperor Lothar of the Holy Roman Empire. He later arrived in Denmark, where he was greeted by King Niels, who eventually gave him a ship so that he could sail home to Norway. Bibliography. Riley Smith, Jonathan. The First Crusade and the Idea of Crusading. p. 132. ISBN 0812213637.